All right, Catherine.
Hello, Catherine Campisi from Association of California State Employees with Disabilities and longtime wildlife governance member and participant.
Perfect, thank you. Matthew.
Matt Baker, California Youth Leadership Forum project manager with CCPD.
Margaret.
Margaret Balistreri, CCPD staff member.
Logan.
Logan Pendergraft, wildlife alumni and representative of California School for the Deaf.
Maria.
Hi, I'm Mariella Ferris-Journey, the Executive Officer for the California Committee.
Charlie.
Good afternoon. This is Charlie Kaplan, representing Friends of Californians with Disabilities, Inc., a longtime supporter, past Governors Committee chair, and I'm sitting on the fund development with Catherine Campisi and others.
Blair.
Hi, I'm Blair Webb. I work for YLF now, right, Matt? So he said. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Blair. Ashley.
Hello, Ashley Burrell, Staff Service Manager with the Department of Rehabilitation.
Thank you. Benita.
Good afternoon, everyone. Benita Bings, representing Workforce Services Branch with the Employment Development Department. Good to see everyone today.
Me too. Danielle.
Hi, this is Danielle Hess. I am the Silk Office Manager.
And Michael.
Last and least, Michael Clay, Chief Public Services Section. Good to see everyone.
Thank you. And I'm Danny Anderson, Governance Chair and YLF alum. We'll go ahead and move on to approval of the November 2023 meeting minutes. Did we have any corrections or discussion on that? If not, I'll take a motion to approve those.
So I'll move Catherine Campisi.
Thank you.
And this is Danielle Hess. I'll second.
Beautiful. Thank you. Margaret, you want to take the vote?
Yes. Anderson?
Yes.
Baines?
Yes.
Burrell?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes.
Kaplan?
Abstain?
Michael Clay?
Abstain. I can't remember if I was in that meeting or not.
You weren't.
And Catherine?
Who?
You were there,
Catherine?
Catherine.
Me, are you talking to me, Catherine? Yes,
Yeah.
I approve.
Thank you. 501. 1, 2, 3, 4. 502.
Two, I think you had two abstentions. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next, we have YLF 23 and 24 budget updates from Matt.
Thank you. So the budgets were, or copies of the budgets were shared from Margaret yesterday. So if you haven't had a chance to look at those, you should have a copy of them. Give me 1 second to share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see the 2023 budget?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so there weren't many changes in since we last met. We just had 1 or 2 kind of last minute expenditures come in we got an invoice from one of our staff on some travel reimbursements that they took a long time to turn those back in, but we finally got it. So we got that plugged in here. And then we have one last invoice that we're waiting on from David on audiovisual for the video. He just finished working on the YLF 2023 summary video. After this meeting, I'll send y'all a link to take a look at that. It's right now private on YouTube, but it'll go public once we get kind of everyone's blessing of the video, of the summary video, and then that will be kind of our last invoice to close out YLF 2023. In terms of our funding, all of our partners have paid their pledged funding. So we've encumbered all of that funding except for DDS, which I know Michael and I have been working with the accounting department over at DDS to get that paid, which will hopefully come soon. So we can get 2023 paid out. There was a slight hiccup with our funding from CDE. As most of you know, our commitment of $20,000 from CDE is part of a contract agreement with California Foundation for Independent Living Centers that they do locally with the Sacramento County Office of Education. So there seems to be some new contract restrictions and expectations that go with that contract that we're having to work through. There might be some issues with us being able to get that funding for 2023. So right now, I'm not including that in our budget as part of anything related to 2023 or carryover for 2024 until we work out whether or not we're going to be able to even get any of that money. A big part of the concern is that a part of the contract language requires that anybody working on a contract related to that funding would be required to get a TB test clearance, which we told them to go back and ask 2023 YLF staff to get TB clearance is probably not an option for us, as they no longer are employed by us. But if we potentially were to use that for 2024 funding, that opens up a whole kind of conversation about how easy that would be. Is that just another kind of barrier to us finding volunteers to participate? And then the reasoning behind why we need to do a TB test is kind of unclear, especially since we're not directly providing services in a school, when I think that rule is kind of set up for the school districts to protect students in a K through 12 school setting, but our program, as we know, is not in a K through 12 school setting. So there's just some more complications and conversations to be had with CFILC and SCOE on that contract and whether or not we would be able to use any, if anything, of that money. But on the positive side, I did have a conversation yesterday with our partners at CDE to potentially change the funding structure going forward for us, that instead of having it go through the Sacramento County Office of Education and CFILC. Sorry, there are so many layers, it sometimes can get complicated. Instead of it going through there, it would be through an interagency agreement with the Department of Rehabilitation, which they already have an open interagency agreement with DOR that they would just add a $20,000 interagency agreement with us for YLF programming. So, but that won't take effect until fiscal year 2024-2025, which, as we know, YLF 2024 happens after the fiscal year. So we might be good to count that for 2024-2025, but we won't know that until probably the new year when there's more conversations on that. But that's something we're continuing to work on. Are there any questions about anything I just talked about or the 2023 budget itself?
Matt, this is Charlie. So if the last payment we're waiting on is from DDS, you said. So if we add that, then the carryover would be about 74,000 as opposed to, we were talking about 94 before, but that's without the CDE money.
Correct.
So that's what we need to start with as far as the fund development. And okay.
Yeah.
Go get us, Charlie. You got to make up for that 20K.
Any other questions about 2023 before I stop sharing? Okay, let me close out this one and then pull up 2024. So this is a copy of our 2024 budget. It's for 50 delegates, fully in person. Not much has changed since last month, except for some of our expenditures or estimations for expenses have gone up slightly, just because of some preliminary information that we're getting back from Sacramento State University on their costs. We have submitted our application with them to reserve the dorms and get all that situated. So some preliminary numbers that came back in my conversations with Joe, that's adjusted that figure just a little bit in line item 16. And then the same came back with some preliminary conversations with the dining services folks. The food costs will change for them. I was going based on figures from last summer, but they have had, obviously, inflation changes have happened in our economy. So that number has gone up a little bit as our estimated costs will increase as well. So our current estimation, our current estimated cost of operating expenses for YLF 2024 is $243,700. Right now we have funding commitments from our partners at California Workforce Development Board. They came in at $9,999, which was the same they committed last year. And then our partners over at Department of Social Services, my apologies, they've also committed for funding for YLF 2024 at $9,999. Catherine.
Yeah, when will we know, now that Rehab is able to fund the delegates using Priet's money, when will we know how much Rehab is going to put in?
Yeah. So that figure is already worked out. It's basically just taking the total operating expenses for YLF and then dividing it by the number of delegates, which comes up with that figure, which I believe last year was 4497. So but if you look at 243,700, give me 1 second to grab a calculator and do that math real quick in my head. It looks like the new figure will be $4,874 per consumer. So they'll pay, they're committed to paying for each consumer the costs to participate in the program. So $4,874 for each DOR consumer committed.
Okay, so if we put that in, that would lower what we have to raise substantially, huh? Yeah.
Correct, depending on the number of delegates that we select that are DOR. I will say, that's part of my next update in outreach for students. A large number of the applications that have been received thus far and have been interviewed for YLF 2024, most of those students are already connected to DOR.
Okay.
So.
Right, but I mean, with the Priets, it doesn't matter, right?
They would still have to be affiliated with DOR and have an open case Priets or not. They would have to have an application on file in order for them to be use DOR funding. And Ashley, you can step in and clarify.
That's not Priets then. I don't, yeah. That wouldn't, yeah. Ashley, can you clarify for us?
I'm sorry. In terms of the funding for each student?
Well,
yeah,
I thought from last year that they'd broken it loose now and decided that they could fund it using Priet so that the people did not have to be DOR consumers. Am I mistaken?
That was not my understanding. My understanding was that they still had to be DOR consumers.
Oh, okay.
Do they have to have an IPE completed or do they have to just have an application in?
Just an application in because the funds were also going to be used for the student services. So if they're in the
Okay.
PE case type.
So that's the difference, Catherine.
Okay, all right, so
They just
that
have to
helps,
be
yeah,
applied.
that helps, it's not, yeah, okay, all right,
Right, we don't need to go to get them into a full VR case type. They
right,
don't
a
have to
plan,
have an
right,
open
right.
IPE
I got it,
for
okay,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
They can just have an
that
application as
helps,
a
yeah,
PE.
okay.
Logan?
Okay, so if I'm hearing this correctly, depending, because even though it's with delegates, I'm just gonna be, so, sorry, I'm overthinking right now, but if I'm thinking correct, depending on the number of delegates we're gonna have this year, that means we're going to be pushed a bit, trying to make sure everything's accommodated, all that's said and done, to when the event comes, and I'm assuming correctly, we're going to have more workers than this year's, correct?
Oh, yeah, everything's gonna increase because it's gonna be a bigger YLF this year. So we had how many last year, Matt? 30?
We had 32 students that we served last year.
So we're hoping for 50 this year, which yes, means more staff as well.
More groups.
More groups.
More groups, more staff, more everything. And more time on campus versus 3 days on campus. So we only paid for 3 days on campus last year. Now we're paying for the full week. So this budget looks closer to what previous YLF budgets have looked like pre-pandemic. So just given a little inflation.
Okay.
Just slight.
So I'm
Any
just gonna be
other?
safe and say, I'm just gonna play it safe and say maybe 20 extra people to go and help.
Oh,
Because if it's bigger than this year's, that means some of the alumni will have to go and help this year, this upcoming year, 2024.
Yeah, so that Logan, you bring up a really great point talking about the staff outreach, which we're gonna talk about in the agenda later in the agenda. So
Okay, I am going to mute now.
Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions about our 2024?
Catherine has her hands up.
Catherine,
Oh,
do you-
no, I
is
take
that
my
the
hand
same
down
hand
now,
up?
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm lowering my hand, sorry about that, there it goes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop sharing screen. But I'll just say that we'll continue to talk to our state partners to get funding commitments from those state partners. And then in terms of our private partners, I know Catherine and Charlie said that they were going to start in January to do some outreach. I do know that we have a potential returning partner from Sutter Health. There's been some conversation with Sutter Health, so that'll be great if we can get them back on board and supporting YLF. Any other questions about budget? No? Okay. Danny, I pass it back to you.
Okay, next is back to Matt. Student outreach and marketing.
Thank you. So I just wanted to provide a brief update. Our application period is still open. At last month's meeting, we decided to extend the application period till the end of January, looking for students. I have been working my tail off, marketing and outreaching the program anywhere and everywhere that will have me. With that said, as of today, we have 89 applications
Wow.
Excellent.
for YLF 2024.
Fabulous, yay.
And I want to give a shout out to Danny and Ashley, who have helped with the interview process. We've already begun interviewing applicants that we received since back in August. We didn't want them to wait too long, so we've been doing ongoing interviews with applications as they come in. So just quick shout out to Ashley and Danny, who have sacrificed a few of their evenings and weekends to do the interviews with us. Because as we know, students are usually in school during business hours. So we have to do these interviews in the evening or the weekends. So much, much appreciated. But so far, we've had some great interviews, and we've actually made a few selections already, and have sent congratulations emails to about 15 students, and all 15 have accepted the offer to attend YLF. So we are well on our way. So that's the update on student outreach and marketing. Are there any other questions in that area? I see Blair has her hand up. Moment to get herself off mute.
That's great, though.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you still looking for more marketing ideas?
You know what, Blair? I am always open to new marketing ideas. So if you have them, I will take them. Yes, let me know for sure if you want to email those to me. Any other comments or questions about marketing and outreach? Yeah, Charlie?
So based on what we have now, are we going to start doing some targeted outreach? I know, Logan, you're representing the California School for the Deaf, you said. So are we going to try to target, groups that that we've had lower numbers before?
Yes.
Okay.
Go
Charlie,
ahead,
to
Logan.
answer you, sorry if I interrupted. To answer your question, I'm right now representing California School for the FEMA because none of the other students aside from me know about this program.
Right.
If you want to outreach here, I could talk with my leadership supervisor, Daniel Gerald. He's actually the one who who let me know about this. I could talk to him about it, and we can connect with the high school principals, Clark and Allen, along with the division of instruction, to see if anyone's interested. And maybe one of you guys might come as well to help explain this entire program, if possible.
Yeah. Thanks, Logan, for offering. I will reach out to you to get that set up. We are doing some more direct targeted outreach, especially to those folks in the deaf and hard of hearing community, as we don't have any applications from any students identifying as deaf and hard of hearing this year as of yet. There's still time. I did make a presentation last week to the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Advisory Committee here at the Department of Rehabilitation, and have some upcoming meetings with some different advisory bodies and some different groups, a part of the deaf and hard of hearing community, to do some more targeted outreach to that community. Especially getting connected to the deaf schools is really important. So I have an outreach meeting with somebody over at the California Department of Education, the Special State Schools Administrator, and I have a meeting set up to talk about some outreach. And I appreciate Logan also putting his hat in and supporting that as well. So if we can get meetings set up at the deaf schools in California, that will be, I think, really tremendously helpful.
There was another person that goes to the Riverside School for Deaf that I know.
Yeah.
He's a former principal of mine, but he's a good person. His name is Rory Oswink. If you can try to connect with him, that would be great as well, because having more people from the deaf schools means more targeted outreach. More outreach means more people to come to YLF for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need me to come help for next year, I can always come help if needed.
Yeah, we love having alumni come back. Any other questions?
Matt, this is Catherine. I'm going to send you that email for Sherry Farina Muti. I don't know if you know Sherry, but she's at NorCal Center on Deafness, but she's very involved statewide. She's on the DRC board, and I think they might even have a youth program there at NorCal, but you can tell her that I suggested that she contact you.
Awesome. Yes, I'm welcome.
Contact her and see what she can do. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other feedback? No?
We'll just go right into the next.
Right into the next one. So,
Not again.
with 50 delegates, like mentioned earlier, we will need more staff. So we've begun, CCBD staff has begun drafting the updated online application for our volunteer staff. We're very excited to be fully online with our applications. So we're hoping to get that published sometime in January and go live in January and start recruiting for staff. Of course, that will go out to all of our alumni, including YLF 2023 alumni will be recruited. We did add a new position for those younger alumni, which we're calling, I believe it's a peer mentor position, where they'll get an opportunity to kind of, it'll be a step above a group assistant, but a step below peer counselor. So it'll be an opportunity for our younger alumni, and it'll be a specific position only that alumni can apply for who are still kind of in that transition age youth area. So, and then that will go out in January, and then we're hopeful that we'll get applications in by March. So that way we can do marketing and outreach for the next few months on that. Any questions on our staff outreach and marketing?
I don't have a question, but just something that piqued my curiosity. The peer council, no, the telephone tuning thing in general. When do you know what time do you want for those applications to start in January?
I don't want to.
Like what time in January do you think we're gonna start?
Like from what week to what end?
Yeah.
Like from what month, like what day of January all the way to the end of whatever day of March?
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of
Do you have a
connectivity.
vague?
He's asking what our window for staff applications is gonna be. We don't know that yet, Logan, but I would venture to guess probably around the 3rd week in January until the end of March.
Yeah. That will be about right, yeah.
And it will also probably likely be extended.
Extended if needed, yeah. Until we can reach the targeted number of staff that we need for YLF 2024. Which with 50 delegates, I
Okay.
believe in our budget, it's about 42 for small group staffing.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Blair, I see your hand is up. Give Blair 1 second to get herself unmuted.
When will people know when the application is out? Is that what you're saying? I think
Yeah. So we're gonna do a recruitment email that will go out to former alumni. It'll go out to everybody in governance and our partners. And then there'll probably be me hustling and making some presentations on the importance of being a YLF staff person. If you haven't checked out our social media page as part of our outreach and recruitment for students for the program for delegates, we have a campaign where we post videos of alumni every Wednesday doing the hashtag #MyYLFstory, where they share their YLF experience to encourage other students to apply to the program. So I think we'll do a similar campaign for staff recruitment about why you should apply to be a staff at YLF.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments before I move on to the next one? No. Okay. Item 3 in this bracket is the week at a glance. So give me 1 second to pull that up. Okay, can everyone see the week at a glance?
Yeah, but can you zoom in a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So is this better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think we made too many changes since last month. The only change that we did is on Wednesday evening. That originally was a free time, but now we're going to shift and bring back alumni sharing. So we'll work that session back in, as that's a really popular session, and we probably should have that in our programming for YLF 2024. Other than that, there hasn't been too many changes in terms of our programming itself. Maria and I have met with our partners to talk about the Capitol Day activities on Friday the 19th. We have some really good ideas for that day. It sounds like we want to do some activities on the West Steps with maybe some speakers there before we take our traditional photo. And then we'll do the Capitol tours. And then after that, we'll head over potentially to the new legislative building to have lunch with a potential speaker at that lunch. And then we'll round out the afternoon with a panel discussion, potentially in that same legislative space. And then that will kind of be our Capitol Day experience. Marie and I have some more meetings in January, bringing all the partners together on that front to talk about logistics and figuring those things out. But we're really excited about that day and changes to that day and making it more exciting and getting more of our legislators involved in the process and participating in YLF, potentially maybe even sending us videos or letters congratulating our delegates on being selected and telling them how exciting and how important this program is that they were selected for. So any questions on Week at a Glance?
It's me again, Charlie.
Charlie?
Yeah. Okay, so we have the capital activities on Friday. So the closing session and the luncheon, which is going to be at Sac State, is on Saturday.
Right. So we have two separate things. So we'll have the mentors luncheon on
Oh, I
Thursday.
see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That answers my, I'm sorry, I missed that because my concern was that a lot of the people who come to the luncheon normally who work downtown might not come on a Saturday, but
Right. Yeah.
separate
So we
things.
moved
Okay.
that to Wednesday.
That's perfect. That's fine.
And it's gonna be on campus this year.
Right.
Thursday.
That I knew. Yeah, on Thursday. Okay. Gotcha.
And then we'll have our resource fair. Right now it's scheduled for Wednesday, but depending on logistics, we might end up swapping our independent living self-advocacy panel with the resource fair just to allow folks who are coming for both events to just be here on one day instead of two.
Gotcha.
But that's something we can discuss in January.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Wait, I know earlier this year we didn't really have time like earlier this year with the Capitol. We wanted to go to the shop, but we were waiting to go on time to go straight to our little graduation thing. So if time allows, God forbid, can we try to extend the time window by like 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, Logan, you bring up a good point. So YLF 2023, since we had very little time in person, everything was really condensed. And so we kind of crammed everything into our very, very little time together in person. But this year for YLF 2024, we'll have a longer period for Capitol Day. So there'll be more time to do the tour, to do the gift shop, to do everything that we were attempting to do this past summer, but just didn't get time to do. So there'll definitely be more time built in for that activity. It'll be especially helpful that the mentors luncheon won't be following that event, as it historically has. It'll be on a completely separate day like we just
Sorry about
discussed.
that.
So that'll make it easier for us
Okay.
to have more time to get everything we want to get done in that day done.
Mhm.
Benita, I see your hands up.
Yes, thank you. It looks like I can see immediately the difference. It looks like now column G is what day of the week is that again?
That's
Okay,
Friday.
Friday the 19th. Thank you. It's just that event. So the difference is the luncheon. I remember time being pressed. I remember the delegates couldn't do things other than, and they had to get back. So this is really good to break it up, to have them on separate days. It looks like that afternoon is just focused on the capital activities, lunch downtown. Yeah, that should be a much positive outcome, I'm hoping. I remember that from experience. And then Thursday the 18th is the luncheon, the mentoring luncheon is the luncheon, correct?
Yeah, the CKB
Okay.
mentoring luncheon.
There we go. And on campus.
On campus.
Yeah,
That's
that'll be
another
on
good thing. Yeah.
So that'll be a cost savings for sure, not having to rent space and pay
yeah.
$40 for chicken at the Hyatt. So
And transportation to get everyone there.
right, exactly.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
It'll definitely save us some money. And
actually-
it'll be a better experience too for the students because they won't be in the hustle and bustle of moving around all day at the Capitol and then trying to go to a lunch and try and socialize with other people when at that point they're pretty exhausted from the day. So this will be kind of a different experience for them.
Yeah. I'm already excited for them. They'll just get to focus on that. That's good. Thank you.
Speaking from experience with the luncheon, even though I had to sit at a certain table, I feel like we should be like allowed to move a little bit so as to be able to network better. Because there wasn't a lot of people at the table where I was sitting, so I really can give my opinion on this. But bye, Michael.
It's gonna be more flexible this year, Logan. I think that's part of the reason that we're making these changes is that we feel like the luncheon as it was, it's kind of like the delegates feel like they're having to be a little
Lush.
overly fancy and perform a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's an effort to make it more about the networking and being able to talk to more people.
This is a good time for a lesson that I recently won. And mommy is speaking this.
You're cutting out.
Okay, I have a little lesson that I learned from very recently. Let me take off my earbuds so y'all can hear me better.
While Logan does that and I guess gets his sound adjusted, does anybody else have any feedback about Logan, we can hear you. Just give us 1 second. Does anybody else have any feedback about the week at a glance? So I can stop sharing.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, sorry, my earbuds kind of disconnected for a second. So this is how to pause lesson. There are 3 steps, and I have this on my phone. Let's open it. How to pause. There are 3 steps. Eliminate wholly. Now, can anyone explain why I'm saying that?
I'm sorry, I don't know what we're talking about.
This is to help make sure that you guys don't rush things accidentally. Just
Oh,
to the back of your mind.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, like a technique is what you're explaining.
yes.
Okay. Can you send that to us in an email? I would love to have more time to sit with that. If you want to work with me on that, I would love to hear the technique for sure.
It might be a good thing to do it for YLF as well, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Can you
They should overall extort those. Yeah, I can send that now.
Yeah, that would be great.
On my phone, since it's on my phone, let me.
Yeah.
do
Always
that
looking
quick.
for new activities for us to do at YLF. For sure, for sure.
Mhm.
Any other comments about the week at a glance?
So Matt, this is Danielle.
Mhm.
I know we came up with some potential speakers at our last meeting, and I've got some tracking going on that. And I wanted to check in to see if we wanted to make some final decisions on those, or did we want to go ahead and push that, talk a little bit more about the speakers in January, and then get those invites out?
If you have it up and you want to, if we want to have that conversation now, we can for sure have that conversation now.
Okay, I have
And
a.
while you do that, I see, is it Bella who joined us? Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm happy to. My name is Bela Singha. I am totally not camera ready. I've been Zooming all day. I apologize. Please forgive me. I thought this was an open meeting, and so if it's not, I'm happy to get kicked off. My daughter was unfortunately during the Zoom, during the virtual session, which was that not last year, but the year before, she was a YLF person. Zooming in from somewhere. And so I'm just really interested in more state level participation for individuals with disabilities for both employment and advocacy. So I'm popping in if it's permitted. Thank you.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
And yeah, Matt and Danny, I have a document if you guys give me, if I can share it.
Yeah, please. Margaret, can you make Danielle a host?
Looks like I don't need to be. Okay, so I took our notes from last time and kind of split it out into who we talked about for each session, and then just some information about the goals for the session so we can let the speakers know what we want out of them, really. So for our opening session, the people we talked about were Sarah Triano, Christina Mills, Nina G, Michael Beers, and Leah Lakshmi. And the goal of this session is just to kind of welcome people in, introduce them to the disability community, share the goals for the week. If they attended YLF and are an alumni, share their personal experience, and just kind of review some of the rules and norms of YLF that they'll go into more in their small group sessions. So I don't know if we want to maybe make a choice or have more discussion. Charlie?
Yeah, I know the first four. Who's Leah Lakshmi? What's her Lakshmi?
I think she's an advocate that someone introduced us to last time.
Yeah, that was Blair's recommendation. I see Blair waving her hand. Blair recommended her. Leah Lakshmi, she is a disability advocate, a more recent disability advocate. She wrote a book recently and is kind of out there in the same sphere as Alice Wong. Who I actually think I would like to add to this list as well, if we could reach Alice. Alice has presented at YLF before too.
Okay, and I think we had her on our list just for a different, we had talked about her maybe for the mentoring session.
Oh, okay.
So she's on here just for a different session.
Just a different day, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, my 2 cents would be, for the opening session, it would be good to have an alumni there who can share their experiences, because, people are there for the, first time and don't know what to expect. And I think, having an alumni would really, be more positive, where we could use some of these other people at a, in a different session. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
So based on this list, Sarah and Christina are the only two alums. So I would
This
definitely.
is Catherine. I was gonna say Sarah is local, if she could do it. So that would be easy and it wouldn't, it would be not real costly for us. And we know she's a very good speaker. So I don't know.
And with an hour time, I mean, we have time, so we could potentially have both of them if we wanted. So, or we could have an alumni speaker and then maybe Nina G or Michael Beers do a comedy set to kind of make it light and fun as well.
My only concern with that idea is that it would be pretty costly for one of them to come only for like 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I do like the idea of having two because it's an hour. So I just wish we had a comedian or someone that was more local.
We could always find a local comedian and an alumni.
Yeah, I think at some point someone was talking about a local disability comedy group or person. I'd have to look back at my notes, but
so there is a local disability comedy troupe here that Nina G is technically a part of. And so is the luncheon comedian that we had last year as well. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was also a part of that group. But there are a few folks locally. So maybe we could target somebody local to come in and do that. I know that there are also a few alumni that I've seen recently on Facebook that have talked about doing comedy or taking a stab at trying comedy. So maybe we can do some targeted outreach to those folks too.
Okay.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's for like for this. What about like a couple of incentives from DOR, from the Department of Rehab? I know normally we have one, but maybe have a few extra DEL positions as well, and how in each DEL would own perspectives, how they help students with disabilities. For example, me and my sister were both deaf, but we take me and my sister. I take DEL, my sisters will take it soon. Maybe that might benefit us.
So I know that in one of our later sessions, we have someone from DOR talking, and they're also very involved in the resource fair usually.
For sure, for
So
sure.
we will definitely have DOR people here sharing, just not in this opening session, I don't think.
And we also just, in terms of logistics of the timing, in this hour session, there'll probably also be a video welcome message from which we've been doing from all of our state sponsors, and potentially some of our legislative champions. We'll get some video clips from them that we can include. So that plus just kind of the MCs kind of warming up the crowd, getting people ready. I think at most the speakers would have 15 to 20 minutes if we do two. So
probably back to one then. What if
maybe you should approach both Christina and Sarah and just see what their schedules are? Because I mean, we don't know. They may know now that they can't possibly do it.
Yeah, that's true. Danielle, what are your thoughts on, is this a document that you would feel comfortable sending out to us to be able to review, and then we could have our individual notes for a bit more of a fruitful conversation at the next meeting?
Yeah, happy to.
Oh, yeah, I think that might be better. Let's do that, because I think there's a lot of different things happening, and if we sat down with it and had more time to look at it, I think that would be really helpful. But I really appreciate you, Danielle, putting this together. It's really helpful.
Yeah.
Well, and then I think at
And-
some point, Danielle or somebody's gonna have to take, all of these suggestions and make a final decision about it,
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, that everyone can kind of look at this talk about it, and at maybe our January or February meeting, we can make final decisions and I can send invitations out and
Right.
Yeah.
all of that. So cool. I will save this, clean it up just a little bit more, and send it to Matt to share.
Thanks, Dan.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. Can't do it without Danielle and tremendous effort.
All right, Matt, you want to do the regional wildlife updates?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. My computer froze. So in terms of our regional wildlife updates, we are still having conversations with our San Diego and Los Angeles partners to hopefully put on a regional wildlife in those areas in early 2024, potentially spring or summer 2024. But I know that spring, summer 2024 is also a busy time for statewide wildlife. So we're keeping that in mind as we plan those regional events. But both regions partners are still very committed to the idea of putting on a regional event. It's just working out those logistics and those last minute kinks to try and get things together. Is a little bit of a hiccup for us. But we will continue to do work on those efforts. And then Maria and myself will also be starting some conversations with other regions in 2024 to potentially host more regional events in other areas as well. So more on the horizon for expansion of wildlife and opportunities for young people with disabilities and transition age youth.
Thank you. And Blair's putting some other speakers, I think, in the chat, so we can capture those, please.
Awesome.
Okay, agenda items for future meetings. So we're going to receive the speaker potentials from Danielle, so we can individually review those and have a conversation about that at the next 1 or 2 meetings. Is there any other agenda items that you all would like to see us talk about on the next one?
So this is Matt. It's not really an agenda item, but just some things that have been changing. So for those of you who don't know, there's been some changes to the Bagley King requirements that take effect January 1, 2024. So that will impact this committee's efforts. Maria, myself, and the rest of the CCEPD staff will be reaching out to each member of the committee individually to talk about those impacts of the changes to Bagley King and like how we can move forward to ensure that we continue to have quorum at each meeting, and then just kind of go over the new requirements, one of which includes having our cameras on, which thankfully most of us, if not all of us today, have our cameras on. That's part of the new requirement, is that any member who's attending the meeting is required to have their camera on. So Logan, I see your hand went up. And then Blair.
Yeah. I had not noticed. When did this get announced?
The Bagley King requirements. So that's been in effect for a long time. During the pandemic, there were some executive orders that were allowed us to meet differently. That allowed us to meet more in a hybrid environment or remote environment. But those executive orders have now sunset, and now there's been changes to the law itself. So we just have to be in compliance with that going forward. So starting in January, those changes will take effect. It shouldn't be too hard to meet those new requirements. Maria and I have worked hard to kind of figure out those issues, and we'll move forward the best way we can.
And just for background, many, many years ago, Logan, they put that law into effect because these are all public bodies. And so, they didn't want people meeting secretly, 2 or 3 members, making private deals and then coming and basically doing official business without transparency and making sure that everybody who was on that body had a chance to be involved and noticed when business was going on and all that. So that's kind of the history of why they wanted to do it. avoid, backroom deals by just a few people.
And as we know, YLF loves, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and now everybody
Deal.
hates it, but that was the region originally, so yeah.
Yes, yes. And we will continue to be as transparent as possible with
Yeah.
anything and everything related to YLF as always. So
Yeah, that's a
any other comments about Bagley King changes?
Bayla, you didn't have to turn your camera on today.
Thanks
Oh,
for
you're
the
on mute.
update.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I think it's
I was
just
actually
voting.
going to do it right before, and I just realized, I actually did brush my hair and put on. And then I realized, I should do it because I know it's a public meeting, but I don't like it when somebody's got their camera, I get it. So here I am. I apologize. There's no, I just wanted to show up. I'm very interested. Like I said, my daughter was unfortunately during the COVID. So keep going. Thanks.
Well, Bayla, I would love to connect with you offline. If your daughter is an alumni, we would love to have her come in person to YLF next summer as one of our peer mentor staff. So let's
Clearly
connect.
you got the hint. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did not get that chance.
They did not
But,
get the experience. Yes, we will definitely be reaching out to our 2022, 2021, and 2020 class. Can't believe we did it 3 years remotely, but we did it. We survived. So those 3 classes for sure it would be amazing to have them come and be peer mentors and have a fully in-person experience of YLF. So,
Okay. Are we ready to move to public comments?
I think we are.
Do we have any public comments? And
I have a comment.
Oh, Benita, 1 second. Ava, I'm sorry. I saw that you joined us. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm actually part of the medical services unit. And so I'm here to learn and to educate because I'm here as an honor and privilege to serve our clients. And I just want to expand my brain. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Benita.
I'm sorry, I'm not wearing any makeup. I'm just about as plain as can be. You don't see my dark baggy circles, but the Golden Gate Bridge is overshadowing that.
No worries. All right.
Looking great, looking great. Thanks, Danny. I was just gonna say thanks for the update to you and Matt regarding Bagley King. Familiar for sure. It's gonna be important to inform people, kind of give them advance notice, heads up. I was just thinking, like, my work laptop doesn't have a camera, but I do have a device, and I'm in the office, but I forgot my camera, so I'm borrowing a coworker's. I thought, oh my gosh. So, essentially with the new law, one may have to leave the meeting, right? And are not able to attend. And this is as it relates to public meetings, correct?
Yeah, this is Maria. That's not technically correct, Benita. So if you don't have your camera, we would probably have to notice it in the meeting minutes or make some sort of publicly. But that's a very good question. I need to kind of figure that piece out. But
Yeah, okay.
we wouldn't necessarily say you can't
I'm not gonna be X'd out.
participate. Yeah. So we're still working through those questions, and you brought up a good question too.
Thank you very much, though. Okay, great. That
And
was it.
Benita, since you're local, we will have an in-person location starting in January that you're more than welcome to come join Maria and myself and probably Margaret sitting in a conference room together. So you can come join us in person if you would like.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you all meeting now? Is it at DOR
It
or
is
just different?
TBD as of today.
Yeah, exactly.
We will let you know very, very soon. That's why we're going to reach out to each member individually with updates on where that will be before we send out the public notice to folks in January.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Any other public comments? Okay, well, I will go ahead and adjourn our December meeting and say happy holidays to all of you. I hope you have wonderful family, restful, friend, whatever, however you celebrate, enjoy it. And we will see you in January.